There you are. Good evening and welcome to News Tonight. My name is Kemini Amano.
And I'm Patrick Stevenson. First up, we'll bring you the top stories that we have for the bulletin, and then we'll continue with the rest of the items we have for the evening.
EPA swiftly moves to shut down Terra Chinese factory. The smoked out students of the Osudoku Senior Technical after the school's headmistress boldly moved to send home students Friday.
Now, the saying that a man with nothing to lose is the most dangerous man alive might not apply to Martin Amidu anymore, as Dr. Ayeni heads to court to block his nomination due to his age. But we'll find out if his vetting will take place tomorrow as scheduled.
Now, despite a law to make public places accessible, persons with disabilities continue to struggle 12 years after promotion. We'll find out why.
And the business with Kweku Timing this evening, utility service providers want their tariffs set upwards. We'll bring you updates on this and many other stories we have lined up for the evening.
Welcome to our broadcast tonight. In our first story, former Deputy Attorney General has filed a suit at the Supreme Court against Special Prosecutor nominee Martin Amidu. Dr. Dominic Ayeni claims Martin Amidu, who's 66 years old, is beyond the statutory age of employment in the public service. Event, Parliament proceeds with the vetting and approves same. Ayeni wants the court to go ahead and annul the approval of Martin Amidu. In a statement of case, Ayeni is praying the court to declare that by true and proper interpretation of Articles 191D and 199(4) of the 1992 Constitution, no person above the age of 65 years is eligible for employment in any public office created in Article 191D. Now, the suit could scuttle the parliamentary vetting of Martin Amidu by the Appointments Committee of Parliament scheduled for Tuesday. However, what we know is Chairman of the committee, Jose Owusu, has been speaking about this development. Let's take a listen. Well, we'll bring you that soundbite from Chairman of the Parliamentary Vetting Appointments Committee in a bit. We're going to look at some other issues around the vetting of a nominee for Special Prosecutor's Office.
Well, and in this particular development, anti-graft body, the Ghana Integrity Initiative, is urging the Appointments Committee in Parliament to eschew partisan politics and uphold the principles of good governance as they vet Special Prosecutor nominee Martin Alamisi Amidu on Tuesday. Now, in an interview with GHOne News' Ridwan Karim Osman, the Executive Director for the Ghana Integrity Initiative, Linda Ofori-Kwafo, encouraged committee members to see Martin Amidu's vetting as an opportunity to demonstrate their commitment towards the fight against corruption.
Minority Chief Whip and member of the Appointments Committee, Muntaka Mubarak, has already predicted that Amidu's vetting will be the longest in Ghana's history. But the citizen vigilante, in a statement, says he has nothing to lose and is calling on anxious Ghanaians to remain calm ahead of his vetting on Tuesday. Executive Director of the Ghana Integrity Initiative, Linda Ofori-Kwafo, believes Amidu's vetting should be devoid of frivolities, especially as corruption remains a serious issue.
It will be surprising if it doesn't come out as the first special prosecutor for the country after the passage of the law. And so we are hoping that Martin Amidu will be successful at tomorrow's vetting. We're also expecting both the opposition and the government in office to put national interest above partisan interest. And I say so because we know them and what they can do.
The Ghana Integrity Initiative also says it is interested in knowing Amidu's anti-graft strategy when giving the nod. If you were a member of the committee, which questions would you have asked him?
I have always said that when it comes to a wish list of the various allegations of corruption and the cases we have, I don't have any. I say so because every corrupt act stands the chance of being investigated, and we cannot actually let some plays or have a higher value than the others. The President talked about the fact that there's a number of cases that we have dealt with, and when he was listing, I heard him talk about busts, and I was surprised. Because in the minds of the general public and citizens, bust has not been dealt with.
Some Ghanaians have meanwhile been sharing their expectations ahead of the vetting.
What I want them to do is to be able to bring the best in him out, because all of us are expecting that we will have a better country in the near future. To be part of the committee, I think the question I will be able to ask him is, he's an NDC person, no doubt about that. So when an NDC person comes in front of him, how is he going to handle the person?
Well, I expect them to find out if, as the special prosecutor, I'll be able to be impartial in his judgment, given the history he has with the NDC. I hope he doesn't try to persecute most of the former members of the NDC. So I think they should try and ascertain whether I will be someone who is impartial and will be able to carry out his duties to the best of his ability.
I just hope that they come up with the best, and also that the truth should prevail. All that I want is the best for them.
But if you're a member of the committee, what question would you have asked Martin Amidu?
Are you sure you are capable for this position? That's the question I'm going to ask if I were to be there.
Why?
Per his history and per his experience, I think that in a way he's capable and not capable, so I stand in between.
The largest opposition, NDC, has admonished Parliament's Appointment Committee to allow the President's nominee for the Special Prosecutor's Office, Martin Amidu, to explain reasons he earlier described as unconstitutional the bill that was passed to establish the same office he will occupy. The former Attorney General and Justice Minister, Martin Amidu, in September 2017 issued an epistle which described the bill on the special prosecutor as flawed. In a 25-page article, the nominee gave a critique of the office of the special prosecutor. According to the NDC, the office of the special prosecutor must not be seen or treated as a political outpost for witch hunting or the performance of hatchet jobs for an incumbent administration. This, they believe, would most definitely lead to needless socio-political tensions and national instability.
Away from the office of the special prosecutor related stories, let's turn attention to disability. Amasewa was abandoned by her father at age 1, despite the accepted norm that little girls are doted upon by their grandparents. Amasewa was not so lucky. Her grandmother suggested the little girl be buried alive at the tender age of 1. I'm sure by now you're wondering why. The answer is simple. Her only crime is and was her disability. Odelia Ajiman Prempe reports that friends and family have deserted Amasewa and her mother due to this debilitating condition.
Amasewa is now 4 years old. Most healthy babies would crawl by 9 months old and start walking by 2 years old and would have said their first words of mommy or daddy. But this is not the case for Amasewa. The little girl cannot sit nor stand, not to talk of the dream of even crawling and subsequently walk. She also cannot talk. Amasewa can only do one of two things at a time: lie down awake or asleep. The center of Amasewa's limited world is her mother, Felicia Kranchiwa. These days, most toddlers would have been enrolled in school by age 2, and by 4 years old, most children would be in nursery 2 and would be able to easily read, recite the alphabets, or even have some numeracy skills. Some can even wear their own clothes or brush their teeth. But being enrolled into school will remain a dream for Amasewa, at least for now. When most children at age 4 are being fed fufu, banku and other staples, Amasewa's stomach can only manage cereals. And there are days that she is not able to eat nor drink anything for a day or two. 4 years ago, Amasewa's mother, Felicia Kranchiwa, was abandoned by her baby's father after he found out that Ama is disabled. She told the news team Ama's father, who we would call Kofi for the purposes of this report, took the child to a fetish priest in Kweunkwetya in the eastern region, where he believed Ama could be cured of whatever ailment was afflicting her. But this was not to be. Amasewa's grandmother from her father's side took them to a fetish priest whose best cure was to give the little girl some medication that would have ended her life in 2 weeks.
Second time say, no 1 year, 6 months. Second take pepe menu drono. Ama nanu 1 week pepe pakola ne be free mu. Na me say adwuma die. Menye because nyame de ne mami. Nti ono nyankopon so ama ho kwan a wentimi ma. Nti ono ne pemu na me de machia na me hu hwede na so say de we de menye.
Amasewa's father abandoned his child and baby mama when Felicia refused to apply the said medication. It is not easy taking care of a child with the kind of disability Amasewa was born with. Due to the intensive care required, Amasewa's mother, Felicia, has not been able to work for the past 4 years.
I was in hospital. And yes, it's can only be all new, but all nye, a brown or day, or bomb, say, or see a clan, or said, or bet some to say, ya. Zonoko for a bar, or any tea or cocoa worry no. Until no so I reward the minimum to see in hospital, if I'm continuing. At the Potia, a mom, we have about more come dear. And a day I am so before I started to meet in Yakin about Pesanka, me fan call hospital, Namin share at the Potia, having as he says, Casamono, and no problem because me near you may be 4 years in here. Native face more than
the family of Amasewa's mother have also abandoned her because of the child's disability. Amasewa's mother cannot confidently tell what is wrong with her daughter because all attempts to convince the child's father to support a medical diagnosis has proved futile. But she recalls what doctors told her at delivery. Due to lack of monetary support, Felicia has resorted to the use of herbal medicine in hopes of a cure for her little baby. As a result of this disconcerting revelation, GHOne News took both mother and child to the Kolebu Teaching Hospital to find out what Amasewa is suffering from.
She has what we call the quadriplegic type, which means it affects all her 4 limbs. So that's the more severe type. So she has more needs, and it will run throughout her life. So she needs help throughout. The first thing she needs now, obviously, she's very spastic, so we need to reduce that stiffness. And so she will need maybe a combination of some drugs and physiotherapy.
Ama gave some unusual smiles, maybe because it was her first time back at a hospital since her birth. At the hospital, the news team was told Ama has cerebral palsy, a group of disorders that affects balance, movement and tone.
We can help quite greatly because the damage has occurred already. When you have a condition like this, the damage has occurred in the brain already. She has what we call the quadriplegic type, which means it affects all her four limbs. So that's the more severe type. So she has more needs, and it will run throughout her life. So she needs help throughout.
The head of Department of Child Health at the Kolibu Teaching Hospital, Professor Eben Badu, said Ama might suffer the condition for as long as she lives. Both Ama Sewa and her mother suffer stigmatization. Felicia recounts she was once evicted by their landlord due to Ama's condition. A UN Division of Social Policy and Development Disability states, parties shall ensure that children with disabilities have the right to express their views freely on all matters affecting them, their views being given due weight in accordance with their age and maturity on an equal basis with other children, and to be provided with disability and age-appropriate assistance to realize that right. This is difficult in the case of Amasewa because even her father has given up on her. Now a single mother, Felicia is pleading for the support of the general public.
Now, February 11 is observed every year as International Day of Women and Girls in Science. Now, the day is set aside to celebrate the world's efforts in getting more women to study and work in science-related fields. Unfortunately, women and girls continue to be excluded from participating fully in the sciences. However, the global community has gained some triumph over the past 15 years in pushing many more girls into these fields and celebrating women who are effecting change using science-acquired skills. It is in this regard that the Dufour Foundation is proudly celebrating Mrs. Kakra Dufour Nyako as Ghana's first and only female actuary. Now, Kakra Dufour Nyako is a blazing torch in the effort to inspire change and encourage more women to boldly take up the sciences.
Having obtained her ordinary and advanced level certificates at the Ghana International School majoring in mathematics, chemistry and biology, Kakra Dufour Nyako obtained a BSc Honours First Class degree in economics from the University of Warwick and a postgraduate diploma in actuarial science with distinction, as well as an MSc in actuarial management from the prestigious Cass Business School, City University in London. She is also a qualified fellow of the Institute and Faculty of Actuaries, as well as a member of the Actuarial Society of Ghana. Currently, she serves as the Executive Director and Chief Actuary at Star Life Assurance Company Limited, an indigenous company well known for rolling out award-winning life insurance solutions for diverse groups.
Well, we'll do some political news now. Now, the governing New Patriotic Party has announced modalities for its upcoming constituency, branch and chapter elections with a caution to its members to ensure the process runs smoothly, devoid of any form of acrimony. Now, speaking at a press conference held here in Accra, MPP Acting General Secretary John Boadu called on all members, both home and abroad, to exercise restraint and decorum as the party prepares for the elections.
There shall be constituted a constituency election committee, otherwise referred to as CEC, which shall conduct the constituency officers election at the scheduled days between 21st to 24th of February 2018 and at a venue as CEC may determine. The CEC shall comprise of the following: one national representative appointed by the National Steering Committee, who shall be the chairperson of the Constituency Election Committee. One regional representative appointed by the Regional Executive Committee, who shall be the secretary to the Constituency Election Committee. And one representative appointed by the Constituency Council of Elders. We are mindful of this because This is an election to elect constituency officers. We want as much as possible to insulate the constituency, the Nkube constituency, from being referees and players of the game.
Well, there's more news coming up ahead. Do stay with us.
Autistic children's dreams come true during Verna Mineral Water rebranding launch.
Most of the times, people ignore such kids and they tag them as evil kids or they are cursed and all that, but that's not true. Putting a smile on every child's face, regardless of their condition, is a major responsibility of our society, and I am pleased to be a part of this today.
In this life, the best thing you can do is to make someone else happy, or basically make people around you happy.
Drinking and buying Verna mineral water, we help many people out there, like our beautiful sisters over here, and all the many people that Verna mineral water helps.
Here we go. Purchase a bottle of the all-new, sleek and stylish Verna natural mineral water today and support a worthy cause. Verna mineral water, changing people's lives.
The Ghana Revenue Authority has introduced the excise tax stamp to be affixed on selected locally produced products and imported ones with effect from 1st January 2018. Affected products include bottled water, cigarettes and other tobacco products, alcoholic and carbonated non-alcoholic beverages. The orange-colored tax stamp is for domestic products, whilst the purple one is for imported products. This will help monitor the payment of duties and taxes, generate more revenue for the country, check smuggling, and protect consumers. Importers and manufacturers of the affected products must go to any GRA office and register to purchase the stamps. Registration can also be done online at www.ghanataxstamp.com. Enforcement at retail points nationwide starts 1st March 2018. For further clarification, visit the nearest GRA office.
Revitalize your body with Master T. Reduces stress, improves your sleep.
Do you really want to keep your job?
I try, sir, but always wake up feeling very tired.
Don't you drink Master T?
Master T.
Master T is a food supplement formulated to improve sleep, reduce stress, relax muscles, invigorate the body for good health and vitality, giving you a fresh start for the day.
We love Master T.
Now available at all pharmacies, filling station shops and shopping centers nationwide. Contact Medimosis in Accra, Kumasi, Tema and Strazako. Master T, another quality product from Medimosis, not suitable for pregnant women and lactating mothers.
Master T invigorates the body for good health and vitality.
Because of my taste, I'm trusted amongst them all. Others say I taste good amongst them all. Some say I bring out the best amongst every individual and unite people. They've crowned me queen amongst them all. Sophia rice, starchless, highly polished, and comes out one after cooking. Choose the queen amongst them all. Sophia rice, Papa mi jinemusa.
The Ghana Revenue Authority has introduced the excise tax stamp to be affixed on selected locally produced products and imported ones with effect from 1st January 2018. Affected products include bottled water, cigarettes and other tobacco products, alcoholic and carbonated non-alcoholic beverages. The orange-colored tax stamp is for domestic products, whilst the purple one is for imported products. This will help monitor the payment of duties and taxes, generate more revenue for the country, check smuggling, and protect consumers. Importers and manufacturers of the affected products must go to any GRA office and register to purchase the stamps. Registration can also be done online at www.ghanataxstamp.com. Enforcement at retail points nationwide starts 1st March 2018. For further clarification, visit the nearest GRA office.
Jame, therefore, ma yawa hui brings you. Na fe yemu so mo kwan.
Say the therefore say no. What aroma? Manento nana say. Insu asem de mo ha na okra ye ba no. Ye de insu ba.
Ah! Adai. Say waba efie. Ah, wa say yen ma mo nsuo nom no. Wo so di nsuo ba. Any say.
Nana eti amra.
Therefore, yesre wo. Nsuo we. Eye ahemfo nsuo a ye de afa mfidie mu. Asone so. Aye ne kroji. A Free Kingdom Beverages Limited. King's Drinking Water.
Bye man. Nsuo na de.
Edampa.
King's Drinking Water. Any na King's Drinking Water.
Ahifusio de.
Welcome back, right?
Yeah, what else were you going to say?
Sure.
Welcome back. This is News Tonight. It's time now for business. Kweku Time has joined us here in the studio. Hello, Kweku.
Hello, Kemini.
We are looking sharp.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. That's because I have great news for persons like Kemini.
And that's why you are looking shy.
I just decided to turn up looking sharp just for you. And you know what, Kemini, if you're seeking a contract in the coming future, and probably because you are a woman, government intends allotting...
you mean because I am a qualified woman?
Well, you brought the
There are qualifications for it. Can we not get into that conversation? Go ahead and give us the good news.
When I come back, I tell you about how the Minister for Procurement is seeking to empower women by giving them a share of the contract. So we'll be back shortly with the details.
Business Brief is brought to you by Dusk Capital. We see a millionaire in you. We're looking for you, the next millionaire. We know of your stressful routine. From those 12-hour flights across the Atlantic to your hustle through traffic every day. From burning the midnight oil to that laptop that never sleeps. We know where you are in life, and we know where you want to go. Let us take you there. Thinking investment? Think Dusk Capital. Dusk Capital. We see a millionaire in you.
Henry, what is wrong with you and your laptop? It is not working.
Hey. What at all is going on in this house?
Your son's laptop is not working and my phone.
Me kai me mo frabrim. Na me mama de me ko Freddy's corner. Enti ene eye manager. Se me di Freddy's corner ho dance e. A chere mabusia. Na de ba ko a me kai wo Freddy's corner. Eye se de wo siti wonim. Ejeji wo customers. Se eba mobile phone, eba laptop papa, camera papa ni PlayStation a Freddy's corner aha ene wo. Se ko ba to mobile phone say, wo camera say, wo laptop say and a PlayStation. Me ha ho kra. Freddy's corner be try you go am. Freddy's corner, your home of authentic mobile phones and accessories.
We're looking for you, the next millionaire. We know of your stressful routine. From those 12-hour flights across the Atlantic to your hustle through traffic every day. From burning the midnight oil to that laptop that never sleeps. We know where you are in life, and we know where you want to go. Let us take you there. Thinking investment? Think Dusk Capital. Dusk Capital. We see a millionaire in you.
Let's do business now, and here the Ministry for Public Procurement is finding a policy document on government's decision to reserve 70% contracts to locals and 30% of that for women and other vulnerable groups. Well, the ministry held its final consultative meeting with stakeholders aimed at soliciting inputs into the final document. Well, speaking at the event, the Minister of State in charge of public procurement, Sarah Joasafo, said the move will empower not just the vulnerable, but indigents in general.
The Dom Kwabenya Member of Parliament insisted her outfit, together with the Public Procurement Authority, has saved the country 800 million cedis from prudent procurement practices.
He has therefore adopted the mantra, Ghana beyond aid. Indeed, Ghana can really go beyond aid if we adopt and implement the right policies to take the necessary decisions. Mr. Chair, the President strongly believes that we can make a lot of savings from public procurement if the right things are done to check the one-time abuse of the procurement methods, mainly sole sourcing and restrictive tender, and this boldly justifies the creation of my office.
For his part, Chief Executive Officer for the Public Procurement Authority, Dr. A.B. Ajay, called for a closer collaboration with the ministry through a properly crafted framework in order to help achieve the vision of the President.
When I was reading some of the detailed comments, they are not different from what PPE can help to provide. So with regards to the detail of the modalities within which and the parameters within which this policy should work, I believe there is still a lot of contribution that we can obtain from PPE.
Implementation of the policy is bound to meet some resistance, especially from the multinational corporations. Senior political science lecturer with the University of Ghana, Dr. Evans Agredako, however, urged the ministry not to yield to these potential external pressures.
Fundamentally, policies ought to be made. And I have argued that since God issued that order, let there be light, and there was light. No such order has been issued. So a lot of the things that we'll do, we'll have to take them through the public bureaucracy, policies and processes and so on and so forth. So you recognize that within the state, policies shape imperceptibly into lawmaking. And that is why when we talk of parliament, we talk of lawmaking, we talk of policy making.
Other stakeholders took turns to contribute to the policy. Speaking to GHOne News, Minister of State in charge of procurement, Adjoasafo, entreated local contractors to take advantage of the policy.
We want to change the status quo in procurement, whereby procurement is open up excessively to everybody. We've seen that to a very large extent, there are very vulnerable groups in society who at the end of the day are cut out of the procurement process, and it doesn't augur well for the development of our country.
All right, great news for the vulnerable in society. Let's now talk about energy. As the minority spokesperson on energy, Adams Mutawakilu is unhappy that he is unable to assess the end-user tariffs. While he bemoaned the absence of the power generator, that's the Volta River Authority at the Stakeholders Forum. Now, this spokesperson on energy says is unfortunate and makes the meeting incomplete.
The presentation was okay, but it's incomplete because the generation aspect, the companies didn't come. VRA should have been here, and as I know, every major tariff review, VRA is given the opportunity to submit their proposal. So I'm not able to assess how the end user tariff, at least I should have a view of the end user tariff. because the generation companies did not come, I'm not able to assess the end user tariff probably we might be expecting.
All right, so that's all we have for you in Business Tonight. Definitely tomorrow morning we'll be updating you with some more stories. Until then, just enjoy the rest of the bulletin. But we're back shortly with more. Do stay.
Business Brief was brought to you by
Dusk Capital. We see a millionaire in you.
Next, here is Insight. Now, in 2006, when the Disability Act was promulgated into law, it was in part to address the challenges persons with disability face accessing public facilities. It has been more than a decade now since the law came into effect. However, accessing public facilities for physically challenged persons remains a major challenge. In this report, patients at Tipuka Etia visited some places in the capital to ascertain how disability-friendly they are. And it must be noted that she's not impressed. Here's a report.
It's 11 a.m. on Tuesday morning. I set out to ascertain the accessibility of public places here in the capital. I am here at the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. But what greets me as a physically challenged person seeking information on what plans the ministry is taking to enhance my mobility into public places was disheartening. The building is like a structure in Inzulezu, hanging on pillars in the sky and completely cut off to me. The ramps that welcome me into the building is equally not accessible. I had to depend on someone to help me access the facility. The stairs that ushered my colleague and I was enough to advise us that persons with disabilities are not welcome in this society, since the very ministry that is mandated to oversee my well-being is not approachable. I continued on to some places in the capital. They turned away my crew and I from taking pictures, a clear indication of their unpreparedness to accommodate persons with disabilities. Climbing the stairs of these buildings could have been better if I had rails to hold on to, but these two are absent. Although the Persons with Disability Act mandates all public places to be made accessible to the needs of persons with disabilities, this directive seems to have fallen on deaf ears, and persons with disabilities, just like me, continue to suffer in accessing places like this. Most of these institutions claim to provide services equal to international standards, but how can it be when persons like me are completely overlooked? Are persons with disability an afterthought when buildings are being constructed?
The accessibility aspect of the Act has been one of our major advocacy actions. Actually, we have done a lot in terms of advocating with government, in terms of advocating with private owners of structures, in terms of ensuring that the Ministry of Information, Ministry of Communication does their level to also ensure that persons with disability have access to information, and yet we are not receiving the needed attention.
I have have lost count of the number of job opportunities that I've missed because of my condition. So have I lost count of the many times I have had to stay away from the gathering of friends and family because the event grounds were inaccessible. Discrimination is not only being disallowed a job you're qualified for, but also being unable to access a building because of physical barriers.
With us at Ministry of Food and Agriculture, in constructing the new structure, took into consideration accessibility as far as people with disability is concerned. And you can bear testimony to that. The facilities available, and MOFA even decided to connect it to the old building, so that using the ramp you are able to access the old building as well as the new building.
Section 6 and 7 of the Persons with Disability Act 2006 demands that all public and service providers make their places accessible to physically challenged persons. Already, it's been 12 years and public places still remain inaccessible.
I must confess that we are unable to actualize all the provisions in the Act, but some of them are being taken care of. So what we are currently doing is draw people's attention to the fact that this thing has passed. This is what we should have done. We've not been able to do it, so this time let us do it. So that's what we are doing.
Ghana is but one of the many countries signed onto the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And Goal 11 reads, by 2030, provide universal access to safe, inclusive, and accessible green and public spaces, in particular for women and children, older persons, and persons with disabilities. Only time will tell if persons with disabilities will be treated inclusively.
Now, as far as issues concerning persons with disabilities are concerned, there are two fundamental laws that govern activities, at least within the context of the Ghanaian society. Here we're talking about the Disabilities Act of 2006 and the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 11. If anything at all, these two laws are supposed to be applied to ensure the development of a holistic society that caters for PWDs. Now, this is a synopsis of the two laws I just referred to. And so, in the case of the Disabilities Act 2006, well, access to public places, the owner or occupier of a place to which the public has access shall provide appropriate facilities that make the place accessible to and available for use by persons with disabilities. And so that's an explicit provision in the law. It continues to say that a person who provides services to the public shall also put in place the necessary facilities that make the service available and accessible to persons with disabilities. And so that's also another explicit provision. And it further goes on to say in Section 8 that a person who contravenes Sections 1, 2, 4, 6, or 7 commits an offense and is liable on summary conviction to a fine or to other provisions that the law adequately makes provision for. And in this case, you're talking about a fine not exceeding 50 penalty units, or to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 3 months, or both. And so at least this is some explicit provision as far as the laws of the country Ghana are concerned. Well, we have been joined over the phone by the chairman of the Employment, Social Welfare and State Enterprises Committee in Parliament, in the person of Honorable Kwame Entry Anyimedu, who will share some insights at least from the perspective of Parliament regarding the enforcement of this law and exactly what has been happening to our persons with disabilities. As far as the reports we showed you earlier is concerned. Good evening, sir, if you can hear me.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you for spending your time with us this evening, sir.
Yes, thank you.
And so here we have laws in this country that typically are supposed to protect persons with disabilities by way of access to public places, employment, and some other social services that the society itself is supposed to ensure that they are adequately provided for. The reports we have just played to our viewers suggest that this is not happening. Is this something that Parliament is aware of, and is this something you're thinking around at this particular point in time?
Well, thank you very much, and good evening to your cherished listeners. As you have indicated, the law has been passed. So far as Parliament is concerned, the law has been made. Quite recently, there was another law that we passed in Parliament. It was an international law that had to do with persons with disability that they do not have a visual, but those who have visual impairment and whatnot, the way they must have access to documentation and whatnot. That means that it should be in braille form and whatnot. And in addition to that, this is a law that had been passed that access must be given to persons with disability. And in this instance, we are looking at those that have visual impairment and those that are lame and whatnot. But it has to do with the implementation. And the law says that if you do not do it, you would be prosecuted and then convicted. If you are convicted, the punishment would go with it. So
has Parliament's attention been drawn to any individual, for example, who did not adhere to this law, and what did Parliament do in that particular regard?
That would not be the duty of Parliament. That should be the duty of the executive. The implementation of the law must be the executive. But the problem that as a country we would encounter, the problem that we will encounter as a country is for instance, I have already put up a structure, erected a structure before the 2006 when the law was passed, and my attention has not been drawn to this. Would it be right for the Attorney General, for instance, to prosecute me of it? And I'm sure these are the challenges that they are having. But the heartbreaking part of it is that now people would even put up a structure, especially public structures, and they will know this aspect of it. And if it's about private schools, I guess we don't need to educate people that when you're even putting up a private home, your attention must be drawn to this. But invariably, the people with disabilities are part of us, and then there will be a day that they will have to use the facility that you have put up. So our attention must be drawn to this. Talking about this, I'm looking at education, that we must educate ourselves and educate the public that invariably it has caught up with us, and we must be ready to actually live up to the challenges that we are facing as a nation.
Now this is a very interesting synopsis that you have just provided for us regarding the implementation of the law. But it's very difficult when you find an institution, for example, like the ministry that is responsible for women affairs, that has an edifice or structure that does not make provision, for instance, for persons with disabilities. I mean, if the central government cannot enforce these laws, even at the public level, how do they then make provisions for people who are putting up things like private hospitals, private schools, and how sensitive these structures are putting up are going to be? I mean, how do we do that?
Well, I am not privy to what you are saying, whether these structures were erected by the ministry after the passage of the law. If it was, then that would be too bad. But most
That indeed is the case, and it's part of the reports that we have just played for the general public to see. And the reporter who went there had challenges on navigating that particular facility.
Yeah, I said that if that is true, then it's an unfortunate incident.
What do we do in that regard? What should the society do in that regard?
That's where we come in. For instance, as the we have oversight responsibility, Parliamentary Select Committee, and I think that prosecution would not start in a vacuum. Somebody would have to make a complaint, and I think that a petition to the relevant committee will be appropriate to start with.
Well, thank you very much. We will duly follow up on that particular suggestion you have just made and see to it that some of these things are brought to a logical conclusion. The voice you was hearing there was that of the chairman of the Employment, Social Welfare and State Enterprises Committee in Parliament, in the person of Honorable Kwame Anyumedu, who was giving us some reactions to the development around the enforcement of the laws for persons with disabilities. We have been asking you questions on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
Kevin, how's that going? How's Twitter looking?
Well, let's find out. The Disability Law 2006 gave building owners 10 years to ensure their places were disability friendly. It's been 12 years and still persons with disabilities cannot have access to public places. How do you feel about this? 24% are outraged. 14% of the respondents says sack the gender minister. 62% impose sanctions, which will make a lot of sense. But okay, look, I have a concern.
What's a concern?
I have a concern with the chairman we just spoke with. He cannot make it sound as though they in Parliament just write laws and, you know, debate them and then that's just it. Their job ends there.
But that's their job until...
No. We know also that the arms we have are supposed to serve as checks on each other.
I agree.
Now, you passed the law, gave a 10-year window. Nothing happened. Another one came to make what you passed before stronger.
Right.
You didn't ask questions? Is that what he's telling us?
Well, until somebody prompts him, and he has clearly indicated that, you know, that doors are open. We can file a petition if we so feel that, or the public.
Anyway, I think we'll continue this conversation on another day.
Definitely.
That'll be all for Insight tonight. Now, in other stories, EPA has ordered an immediate shutdown of the embattled Chinese company Shinefield Ghana Company Limited. The plastic and toiletries company is heavily polluting the environment, leading to the temporary shutdown of the Osudoku Secondary Technical School.
The recycling company Shinefield Ghana Company Limited was established in the Shai Osudoku constituency in 2003. Its major productions are toilet tissues and egg crates. It started the plastic production about 1 year ago, but the activities of the plastic production wreaked havoc on the school as it emits smoke and discharges other toxic waste into the school's environment. The situation compelled the school to elicit a lasting solution, thereby reaching out to the EPA. The Deputy Executive Director of the EPA, Ebenezer Apasampong, in a meeting on Monday, February 12th with the factory's management, ordered them to close down the plastic production department until further notice.
We are going to tell Mr. Dowonu and his team to close that plastic factory immediately. And then we will issue further directives when we have consulted and worked with the stakeholders. We have to work with the district assembly. They are the environmental managers for this district. And besides, they have already taken some measures, so we cannot act alone. But on our part, we can ask them to, on the strength of our law, that please to shut down.
The managing director of the factory, John GHOne, expressed their willingness to adhere to the EPA directive.
Organization, I mean, we operate within the law, so we'll act on it. There were some challenges that we're having with our dealings in getting the permit. There was a little bit of delay, and we worked it out. Like the deputy executive director said, we are working with them to actually regularize everything.
Some agitated teachers and concerned members of the community were quick to rebut claims by the factory that their emissions are not dangerous to their health. Students were expected to write a mock exam today, but are unable to do so due to the temporary closure of the school. The assistant headmaster says the closure of the factory is welcome news.
We are ready to call the students even today if that problem is no more. Because if the problem is there and they come back, it means it's going to be the same experience we're having before they left. So if the problem is solved, we can ask them to come even today.
We spotted some final year day students who also shared their concerns.
The left is just 54 days for me to start my WASSIN, and after all, if I don't produce any results for my parents, they will be annoyed with me. So the only thing we want the government to do for us is that it should come and help us, so that's all. We also pass our WASSIN and leave.
I'm still on campus because I want to pass my WASSIN, and we need the government to come and help us so that they'll be able to come back to school. When I go home, I can't learn, and when I'm learning, my parents will send me do this, so because of that, I decided to stay in the school.
The factory, as part of its corporate social responsibilities, is building a 13-unit block classroom, but the agitated teachers see this move as a smokescreen. A memorandum of understanding, which was also drafted but never signed, has also compounded the problem of disaffection for the company. The Shai Osudoku Technical School, which was once a site for Asuchari's sugar factory, has been in existence for over 21 years. According to the school, the situation has left the lives of about 13 students seeking medical attention due to the constant exposure to the fumes from the Shinefield Ghana Company Limited. The boys' dormitory, which has 4 houses, is the worst affected. MP for Shai Osudoku constituency, Linda Akwele Obinewa Oklu, says she will ensure the factory adheres to the EPA order. She also assured parents that she will do whatever it takes to get the students back to school.
Now, Gary processors at Lamte, a community in the eastern region, want government to find a practicable solution to the imminent Lassa fever. Now, for them, an outbreak in the country will mean an end to their businesses, something they want to avoid. William Evanzinkum has more on this story.
A large saucepan with mashed cassava on fire is fried for a period of time. This is how gari, one of the staple foods in Ghana, is made. Here at Lamte on the Adaisu Road in the eastern region, it is a family business.
To call it a family business is not far from right, because it all began from here. Adika Florence, who is now deceased, started the business, and now that she's no more, her family has taken over.
The voice of a mourner reminds all of how this woman used the gari business to look after her family when she was alive. A solid legacy, but the Lassa fever alert poses a lot of threat, and for Adam, whose life depends on this, closure will be devastating.
This is not a child's play, a tedious business. But to this family, anything that will take them out of business is not welcome. But the issue that has to do with public health is a matter of concern, and even create an atmosphere of uncertainties. But the very trade that they do here is also linked to the Lassa fever.
A family of 15 depends on this business, from adolescent unborn child to the aged. According to the World Health Organization, Lassa fever is an acute viral hemorrhagic illness of 2 to 21 days duration that occurs in West Africa. The disease is transmitted to humans through contact with food or household items contaminated with rodent urine or feces. 31 people have died in Nigeria from the disease beginning this year. In January, Anambra State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Joe Akambuke, urged residents to be mindful of the kind of gari they consume since they might have been contaminated. Adam is unaware of the health alert and how his gari business is connected to the disease. Many revelations about Lassa fever, which he is hearing for the first time, turns him into a worried man.
I assume that they get a medicine for that sickness. They will help us to get medicine for those treatments so that it can prevent us from stopping doing the business.
Perhaps his greatest fear will be the collapse of his business due to this latest outbreak lurking in the shadows. For this family, all they want is that government puts in some preventive measures to stop the spread of the disease, although a case is yet to be identified.
I guess we all have to be on the alert.
Right.
Yeah,
I've seen some safety measures that have already been
Yes, that's true. So basically, keep your environment hygienically
clean.
Yeah, clean.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all we have for you for the evening. My name is Patrick Stevenson.
Mine is Kemini Amano. Thanks for your company. Good night.
Na, Adjoa, and Rachel coming over? What to do? No worries. Serve your girls with a 1.5-liter Coca-Cola value pack for 8 Ghana cedis only. Recommended retail price. Now available.